Hello lovelies, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. If you are brand new to this channel and it is the first time you are clicking on a reading, welcome, and obviously for those of you who have been here before, welcome also. Everybody is welcome. So today what we will be doing is a new moon energy update. So, and we're also doing a week ahead to give you a lowdown of what to expect this week coming in. So it's Monday, June 7th to Sunday, June 13th, 2021. But we also have this incredible new moon in Gemini with a solar eclipse coming in this Thursday, June 10th. So that's really what we will be focusing on, this new moon solar eclipse energy, which is very powerful this week. So we'll be giving you a energy update, what to expect. Each pile will be slightly different. I do believe the solar eclipse will be visible in certain parts of America. I think the northern part of America, certain parts of Europe, and certain parts of Asia. So it's a very important, beautiful week with that energy in Gemini too. So put aside, as usual, 3 piles. So I thought we would start with the gentleness and the support of the unicorns. Of course, it's Unicorn Light Tarot, right? So why not? So I chose 3 beautiful cards for you for each pile to give you a little idea or a little inkling of the energy that's coming forward in each pile, help you choose a little bit more. So for pile 1, and then we have a bunch of other cards underneath. For pile 1, we have prosperity, and underneath it says prosperity is flowing towards you, so be open to receiving it. We have the number 25. So if any of the colors, the energy, the message, if any of that is resonating with you, then that will be your pile. That's pile number 1. Then pile number 2, we have closeness and the number 5. Your unicorn is very close to you. We have this beautiful picture of this little one here with the unicorn there. So if any part of that, the message, the energy, even the colors, the number even is speaking to you, then that is your pile 2. And then we have rainbow 26 here for pile 3. There is a rainbow beyond the clouds. So if this is the image that you're connecting to, the energy, the message, even the 26 or the number 8, then this is your pile. And as always, please take as much time as you possibly need. The timestamps are always linked down below. The more aligned you are with your own intuition, your own energy, the more these readings will mean something to you, will connect with you. So we're going to take in a really large breath. Nice deep breath and hold for a second, and then let everything go. And again, if you need to go ahead and pause the video and come into your own energy in your own time, then go ahead and do that. Let's move these aside for now. And so if you chose pile 1, as a reminder for those of you who have been tuning into these videos for a while, then you would know we always have magic oil candle going on for abundance, releasing, healing, whatever it is that you want. Activation. You can use this candle to release anything you no longer want, and bring in manifestations and abundance. That is always up to you to use at your own will. So this is pile 1. For those of you who chose prosperity, prosperity is flowing towards you, so be open to receiving it. Your new moon energy update with your week ahead from Monday the 7th to Sunday the 13th, with your beautiful new moon in Gemini with a solar eclipse coming in this Thursday, sort of for the most part, middle of the week, June 10th. This is your reading. So I want to do these 3 first of all. I'm going to set up. So we have your tarot cards here, and then wanted to work with some dragon energy for this week's reading. So let's see what we have, and then we'll move off and get you some more information. Ooh, 5 of discs. Love that. And 4 of wands. Wonderful. And let's see what we have here. We have the green dragon. Helps you tune into the secrets of nature. Receive answers and guidance from nature. Align with your own divine essence. Absolutely gorgeous. So, feeling something really beautiful for you this week, Pile 1. Feeling as though there's... So we just had the full moon a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and June is a very, very intense month. And feeling as though whatever you put out to the energy of in and around the full moon will be coming in and becoming a lot more tangible in this new moon energy coming in on Thursday. For a lot of you, there is the prosperity that's going to, these obviously are general readings. The prosperity for each of you will look a little bit different. Most of you, or there's an essence of most of you that are feeling connection is the prosperity that you're looking for. And of course, the not just connection with your guides, but connection with others, getting back into community. And also sort of you've been working on the sidelines, been working on yourself. In many ways we all have because of what's happened in 2020, but this is work that you've done sort of on the sidelines, outside of the eyes of others, to put it in different terms. So this is about you reintegrating and doing this on your own terms and being seen for who you are. So it's really about sort of getting out there a little bit and gauging how your energy is working sort of in the larger picture. You'll be working much more on a macro scale this week rather than a micro scale. So there's a few things that are going on. You're coming into your power, and you're really being able to see. There's a lot of you that have worked on personal power and understanding how personal power actually works, if that's clear. How personal power influences sort of the external. You've really been looking at that for, want of a better purpose. It's energy levels or laws of attraction, or, don't really want to go into that because there's stuff with laws of attraction that I believe in and stuff that doesn't really work for me anymore, or modes of laws of attraction that we've kind of fallen away from or moved out of or grown out of. But for you, it's about personal energy and personal connections, and having your personal connections sort of develop in a really, really healthy way. So you'll be working this week, a lot of you will be working on how your energy works. You'll be sort of almost like scientists. It's kind of funny. Almost like scientists, you'll go out there, you'll put out your energy, you'll see how it's being delivered. Now, even though this is not a timeless reading because this is for this week, but bear in mind we also have Mercury in retrograde, which works with communication and works down to slow communication. Things can be a little muddled right now, so bear that in mind when you're out and about physically or mentally, or putting yourself out there. But it's really about you coming out with this energy of celebration, this energy of beauty, and being very secure in who you are and what you say and how you put yourself out there. Now, in the past, when you've done that, you've intimidated some people. So you've had varied reactions in and around who you are. Now, we want to be really clear about this. As you put yourself out there, particularly the sort of the beginning part of the week before the new moon comes in, there may be various different reactions to your power. Now, if any of them can be seen, any of these reactions can be seen as negative, we want you to be really careful about how you take that energy in and just stand your ground. This is not about before, when you were out and about and you put your energy out there. you would have been offended, or you would have pulled back a little bit because you would have taken it upon yourself to say, maybe, something I did, or maybe I came on too strong, or this, that, and the other. You've been working on yourself in such a way, pile one, that we want you to really claim who you are. Now, this is just a way for you to get out there and just see where the energy's at. Now, if you get out there and, for the most part, it's all going to be positive and great. But if there are some people that seem to, for whatever reason, and it really doesn't matter what it is, if there are some people who just don't react the way that you thought, or there's some kind of limitation to the way in which they're meeting your energy, that could be seen as somewhat negative, or you would have seen that negatively before, just cut the cords with that energy and move on. What we don't want you to do is dumb yourself down in any way, or take in the information from any of that that's going on and say, all right, maybe I need to dumb myself down, maybe I need to pull back a little bit. We don't want you to do that. Always sit in and say to yourself, with an interaction, okay, let's be completely honest. Let's connect with spirit here. Did I go overboard? Did something happen? But if you're getting the energy of, you were fine, you were good, don't worry about it. We want you to make sure that this is sort of your coming out period of you being out there. And we want you to not dumb yourself down anymore, and we want you to be cognizant of energy around you. Now, you've gotten a lot more sensitive. You've gotten a lot more empathic even than you were before in the last year. This is one of your sort of superhero parts here, and a lot of your experiences in the past have been quite painful because you've dumbed yourself down to fit in. And this is exactly the opposite of what we don't want you to do. But also you're more apparent, that the energy that's in and around you, or the way people treat you, or any energy that's around you, you're even more sensitive now than you were before. So we want you to take notice of it, absolutely. And as we said, please check in to make sure that there wasn't something that was inappropriate said, or there was a way that you could have handled it differently. But 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, it will be it's just the way that it was taken, or the energy around it, that how they interpreted your energy. And most of the time it won't be about what you said per se, or how you articulated yourself. It'll be about the energy. Now, for you, again, you have a lot of power, and you're really coming into your power, and you're really claiming it. Now, in the past, this did intimidate people. Now, just because you've worked on yourself, it doesn't mean that you won't intimidate people in the future, or this week, as you will see. But the way in which you react to this now will be completely different. We want you to stand in your power. You don't need to fight back. You don't need to do anything like this. If your energy's not taken for the beauty that it was put out there for, then that's fine. We want you to take your energy and give it to somebody else, or keep putting it out there. There's no need necessarily to protect yourself per se, but we don't want you to dumb yourself down in any way. As you go through this week, this is your week of shining. This is definitely your week of connecting back into nature, but also connecting back into the nature of yourself. Again, it's almost like the sleepy dragon, working behind the scenes and then coming out and sort of integrating. We're not suggesting in any way that it's going to be a bumpy ride as you sort of fully integrate back into the world, but this is a time for you to be able to use your experience of how you used to react to things as you're reacting to people, and how you are reacting to things now. Remember, the whole point here is the prosperity. So prosperity is flowing towards you, so be open to receiving it. So we want you to remain open throughout this week completely as you move forward and as you get ready to really put yourself out there. Now, for some of you, you'll be putting yourself out there and going for new opportunities, which could come in thick and fast after the full moon comes and goes, and that will be with the solar eclipse on Thursday, June 10th. Now, for some of you, there was energy and things that you put out there, very specific sort of energies that you put out there, sort of your wish list, as it were, that you did on the full moon, which is 2 weeks previous to this. Now, some of it's been coming in, or you're getting an inkling of some of it in the last 2 weeks. But a lot of this energy has been moving a little bit slowly. But whatever you put out there, for those of you who put out certain understandings of what it is that you expected, or whatever it is that you were ready to work on next or to receive next, it didn't come in the full moon, then the new moon is bringing in new opportunities for you. Now, we want to be really clear with the new moon opportunities. They may look different to what it is that you asked for at the full moon, and you are always welcome to go back and renegotiate and say, all right, now I want this, or I'm going to tweak with this, I'm going to tweak with this. So the first part of your week is really about you getting out there and experiencing these new beautiful energies, and integrating back into your soul, feeling very much like you, feeling as though you can articulate yourself again, in the beauty that you have, watching the reactions around you, but not getting too involved in them. But please do get involved in all the beautiful reactions that you're going to get. There's going to be a lot of praise this week for you. And this is something that is really good for you, because Pal 1, I think in some ways this is a human trait, but not everybody has this, where you'll get 10 beautiful compliments, and then one person will, the 11th person will say something, and you'll deliberate on that 11th comment. And it's all in the matter of improving. How can I improve? What can I do? You take in everybody's opinions. Nothing intrinsically wrong with that at all. But we want you to focus only on the positive this week, only on what is working, and what isn't working, you're not going to be able to fix by focusing on it. What we want you to do is we want you to let it go. We want you to release it. So in fact, it's sort of the opposite of how you used to work, but we want you to concentrate on what is working. There's momentum for you coming in big time that started with the full moon 2 weeks previous. So we want you to be really cognizant of the energy, moving with the energy. If you need to update that energy, this is what I did ask for 2 weeks ago, but now I'm thinking this would be better. Or you can just be completely open. That, we'll use that as a platform, as a basis. 2 weeks ago, what I asked for, what I think I want. But you know what, universe, you show me. You show me. Let's level up. You show me what I can be doing here. So just be open and honest with yourself as you move forward this week. So that's really the sort of the stakes this week, the energy around your week, and particularly the beginning Monday through Wednesday. Now, as the new moon and the solar eclipse comes in on Thursday in this beautiful Gemini energy, let's see what else comes up for you. So we have a win-win outcome is forecast. Absolutely wonderful. We've got the balance there, the full moon in Libra. I take actions daily that awaken my personal power. Absolutely, going back into the solar plexus chakra there. And then we have will. Absolutely wonderful. And this is 13. This is going to be a very powerful week for you, Pal 3, with the 13 and the will. This is about using your will for you as a momentum to move you forward, not against you. Again, we want you to keep your firm identity this week. And, always check in. If there's something that you've done, you do take responsibility for it. But this is about putting your energy out there without any qualms and saying, this is who I am. Watching the reactions, but not taking them personally. Somebody can't handle or hold your energy or perceives it in any way, cut the cords to that situation and move forward. We don't want you dumbing yourself down. We want you every day standing in your power. This is a very powerful week for you to do that. Now, if you do that, these new opportunities are coming in. Well, regardless, everything's going to happen anyway. But the whole point of this week, Pile 1, is to make things less difficult for you. Now, we're just going to give you a little bit of a tough love here. You're extremely gifted and you're extremely powerful. You're also extremely stubborn. But you have this open, beautiful energy where you don't like the idea of offending anybody. You don't like the idea. You want, in the past, you may have wanted, I want everybody to like me. Whether this was a conscious or a subconscious. And everybody has that to a certain extent. But this is something that you've really come out of. because the people that love you, and the people who don't get you don't get you. A lot of times you find that there's nothing sort of in between. Very rarely is there something in between with you. You elicit this really sort of instinctual sort of energy around you. So people react to that one way or another. And then you would react to them reacting to you. So this is about you claiming your power this week. There's something that you've been working on and off for many, many years. But this has been a theme for you, particularly in the last year. We want you to hold on to it. Definitely, again, take note of what's going on and how your energy is being perceived. But really, at the end of the day, this is about you holding completely your power. And that's how this all works. Now, the stubbornness has been there before, but we don't want you changing anything about yourself unless you check in and say, all right, I want to revise how I've done this and how I've done that. We're not saying that, we want you completely fixed in the way that you move forward. We want that flexible energy for you to be able to sort of move into this energy and move into that energy. But this is about reclaiming your spirit and really focusing on that beautiful energy as you do click into and get back into new communities. And as you are rising up and these new opportunities come in, this beautiful energy and all the praise that you're getting, we want you to pay attention to that. And we want you to really pull in that energy and allow it to sink in, because that is the key to your success. And then, for the stuff that's coming, that may come up, for a little difficulties that may come up here, there, and everywhere, because, it's Mercury in retrograde, things might happen one way or another. But if your energy was perceived in a different way, we just want you to be cognizant of the fact that you did everything you can. Again, check in with your guides. Don't worry about it. Your main energy this week is to focus on you and to shine bright in the way that you were supposed to do without backing down. This is sort of a mini test, as it were. Not necessarily from the universe, but maybe from your subconscious, that when you put your energy out there, some people might be a little bit repelled by the light one way or another. And if this happens, we want you to keep your light. We want you to keep exactly where you are without shifting or downplaying in any way. And we want you to continue to keep doing this. The experiences before, you would not have done that. I mean, some of you would have had, if you had a negative experience, you might have to run away or run off and kind of shield yourself, which is totally normal and totally a total normal reaction. And the other thing that you would do is, again, that 11th person who was, a little bit more negative or had something else to say, you would pick it apart and go through it. Go through it in your mind and go through it so many times so you could see where, you quote unquote, you went wrong, so it wouldn't happen again. This and that. We don't want you doing any of that. We want you to accept energy exactly as it is and let everything roll off your back. However, all of this beautiful energy that's coming, because you are rising up, these new opportunities are coming in. Again, if you're revising them from the full moon, or if they're coming in from the full moon, this is the energy of this week. And as they are, and you become a little bit more in the spotlight, and you have a little bit more of that energy, that lightness and that beauty around you, we want you to stay cognizant of it. And we just want you to stay in that limelight. Now, for some of you, this is a little bit difficult, because even though you've been working on your self-confidence, and when you get up there, you're confident, you're great, but keeping that confidence totally as you stand in the limelight, you're used to giving the limelight to somebody else. For a lot of you, if somebody will say, oh, that's, you look wonderful today, I really love that dress, you'll be like, oh, thank you, I got this dress somewhere else. And you'll reflect that energy or deflect that energy and then almost give it to somebody else, the person who made the dress or where you got the dress. So this is about you standing in this beautiful aura and basking in this light of people giving you compliments and being seen for exactly who you are. And you've been working really hard for this, so we don't want you to back down. We want you to get used to being in the limelight. We want you to get used to being in the spotlight. This is really important for you. And also that humbleness that you have, that's really beautiful, that you would protect almost by deflecting before. We don't want you to deflect anymore if you can, but we want you to stay in that humbleness that you have. but also that understanding of, yeah, I've worked on this, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for the limelight. Lots of opportunities coming in, especially Wednesday to Thursday afterwards, again, for energy that you've put out there or new energy coming in. I don't know if you can hear that, but we're actually having a little bit of a rainstorm outside. It came on suddenly. So a lot of cleansing of the old and this practical energy of you coming in. So how you used to handle this being in the spotlight before is the opposite of what you'll be doing this week. And we want you to enjoy this newfound sort of, for want of a better word, on whatever key, low key, high key, whatever, this little sort of fame, being in the spotlight. We want you to enjoy this. And a reminder, you've got the prosperity card and a win-win outcome is forecast. You've got coming into culmination here, the full moon coming in. So we want you to work in those communities. We want you to use that beautiful power that you have of articulation, of being there and being gorgeous, and don't let anybody put you off, pull you off that level. We want you absolutely where you need to be, and and taking in that power and working from that powerful stance. So this is just the beginning of you getting back and integrating into this new life, or into this new way to move forward. But this is a beautiful time for you to be able to really stand in the beauty of everything that you've been through, and everything that, this sort of somewhat painful journey of coming into yourself. So, expect lots of glorious reactions to you this week. And again, really sit with all of that beautiful, ingest all of those beautiful compliments and this, that. We want you to start believing them, and we want you to start focusing on that, and stay grounded and with that humility too. But there's new opportunities coming in, creative opportunities coming in too. And there will be lots of opportunities to start working with other people coming in too. So this is just for you to go in this week to really solidify where your energy is at now. You've been working on that higher frequency. When we keep you at that higher frequency, you're going to lock it in this week, and stay within that higher frequency. And again, this is about making sure that you keep that frequency and nobody else gets to mess with that, as they were able to do beforehand. So this is just keeping you very much where you need to be. And if there's any reactions to your energy, just cut the cords and move on. Don't do the head thing. Don't go down that. It doesn't matter. Don't try and figure out what went wrong or what happened or this, that, and the other, so you can make sure it doesn't happen again. Some people just react to energy, and that's it. And everybody has their own truth. Everybody has their own version of it. And it's okay. It's okay to admit that you don't know what happened, but you did your very best. Now you're cutting the cord, you're moving on. So if anything comes up that week, that's this week coming, that's all you need to do. Don't spend any more time on it. Let's give you one more making magic here for the week. So what do we have? Successful career. Come on, Pile 1. A happy working environment, pay raises and promotions. Absolutely. These new opportunities, we've got everything coming in here. We've even got this, we've got this, we've got everything. We've got the will, we've got 13 here. We've got new beginnings. You've got successful career. Something is coming in, something is culminating. Or the other thing, for some of you, you put yourself out there for something, you might be getting that news back this week, in and around the new moon or just after, but this week. And it's the go ahead. It's the green light. So literally, this is going to be a very, very important, beautiful week, standing in your own energy, your own humility, and your own right to shine the way that you want to, without having to dumb yourself down in any way, shape, or form, but also taking complete responsibility for your actions and your beauty, which is something you've always done. But new beginnings coming, physical new external beginnings coming in and integrating into that new energy that you've got going on as you put it out to the world. The sky is the limit for you, Pile 1. You're going to have a fantastic week. So you are wonderful. This is what we have for you. So we're sending you so much support exactly where you are right now, seeing you for you in all of your glory. We wish you all of the most beautiful energy this week. Go be you without dumbing yourself down. You absolutely deserve it. And until we meet again, you stay safe and sane, Pile 1. Bye-bye. Okay, beautiful Pile 2s. If you chose closeness and the number 5, then we have your unicorn is so very close to you. So we have the beauty and the love of the unicorns there, and of course the support of the unicorns. So this is your Pile 2. If you've been with me for a while, if you've had a reading, you've been here before, then you know that these are magic candles. Always stress the beautiful candle with some magic oil that I made last year. With the eclipse energy too, so it's very powerful. So you can use it for activation and healing, manifestation, and also releasing anything you don't want into the flame. So that's a little extra vavum, a little extra level for you. Also, we just got a massive rainstorm out here, so if you can hear that on camera, then that's what's happening there. So this is your new moon energy update reading your week ahead from Monday the 7th to Sunday the 13th. And also we obviously have that new moon in Gemini with the solar eclipse that's coming in on Thursday, June 10th. So we'll be working around that energy too. Very, very powerful month. I believe some parts of Europe and Asia and Northern America here will be able to see aspects of the solar eclipse. Yeah, we've got some thunder back there. So let's start off with, we're going to start off with these cards. Really feeling the dragon energy today, and then we have our tarot. So we'll start off with the energy of this week, and then we'll get into more cards a little bit later. So let's see what we have. Ooh, we have the 9 of Swords here and the 2 of Cups. Look at that gorgeousness. And then what do we have here? Okay, so we have the silver lunar dragon. It bathes you in divine feminine light. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your causal chakra. Okay, so here we have a few things going on here. So for some of you, the closeness, for some of you, you will be working with you'll be working with this energy of love this week. You'll be, a lot of this love will correspond or will relate to physical, sensual love. It will be relationship type, partnership type love. For some of you, it's opening up to new people coming into your life. For some of you, it's old energy coming up. And again, we are in the throes of Mercury retrograde too. With everything that's going on with other retrograde planets, this is for a lot of people, not necessarily everybody here in Pile 2, but it's a lot of complex emotions are coming up for this Mercury retrograde period also. Some of this will be coming up for old relationships, what it is that happened, and trying to figure all of that out as you move forward. And also it's this sort of breaking point where you feel as though you're definitely ready to get back out there, for those of you who are unattached but want to attach is probably the wrong word. Those of you who want to get back into the romantic aspect of things, but also don't want to be either shunned or put in a place that they were before. We want to remind you that you've done a lot of work on yourself and give yourself some credit. For some of you, there's a little bit of a nervousness where you feel as though you're ready to get out there, but now that you're practically and physically getting out there, like you're putting your one foot and you're actually stepping into the realm of, all right, I'm ready for this. Let's see what's out there. Some stuff that might be coming up for you about old relationships and making you doubt that you are ready to get back into them. Well, you're absolutely ready. And we're sending you some extra energy of comfort and support that's going on. Some of you also may be hearing stuff about old relationships, just getting some information about that, and it might be sort of heavier news. This is very specific for some of you. that causes you, the main thing about it is it causes this sort of catalyst for you to go back into old energy and start dragging stuff up from the past. Now, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with this, but we want you to remember that every time we bring up memories from the past, there's a hue over the way in which we remember things, like the way in which we will remember a certain situation 5 years ago versus 5 months ago versus 5 minutes ago. We're going to be putting different energy on it based on how much we've grown in between that time. So while we're definitely not going to tell you not to go back and look through it, I mean, Mercury in retrograde is very much about not necessarily going back and driving yourself nuts, but it is about review. It is about sort of releasing and doing all of that. As we say on this channel, not to go down the rabbit hole per se and going over and over and over, but if there is a way that you can go back and sort of reassist some of those inklings or some of those imagined effects that happened in the past and be able to relieve them and release them, then of course in the present moment you will feel completely clear and different. So if you're doing it that way, that's wonderful. But for some of you, it might be sort of getting back into the past, but it's specifically about relationships, you know. Now, if you do this, that's totally fine, because again, there's a way of doing it, but we want you to be aware that we just want you to be aware of how you're looking at it. If you're taking all of this energy in and you're going back, how is your energy at that time, and what are you bringing to that? What are you projecting on to your past? What are you projecting onto all of these situations that you're looking back on? If you're projecting upon them in a negative way, it could be much more difficult for you to get some freedom of thought from the old versions of what happened, because you know you might not be standing in your truth in the present moment. You might be looking at the situation from a little bit of an askewed sort of viewpoint, much more of a negative viewpoint than it needs to be. So we want you to stay grounded. We want you to stay objective all the way through this week as stuff comes up, as you go back into your past, which could be very cathartic for you, as you release into release your past once and for all. The other thing is, for those of you who are feeling as though they are ready to get back out there, but then the practicality of it is making them a little bit nervous. It's like, all right, I know I want to go back to school, and I'm doing this, and you get into school, you're really excited, but when you're driving up the first day of school, you have all these doubts. Oh my God, should I be doing this? It's that kind of thing. So, it's totally fine to entertain where you are at that time. That's perfectly reasonable. But if any self-doubts come up this week about your ability to be able to move into this new way of thinking, or that your past is truly your past, and you won't be taking it with you into any new relationships, we just want you to remind yourself that that is true. And if your mind starts going into these sort of things, or if it's already started going into these sort of like ways of driving yourself nuts, just pull yourself back, cut the cords from all of that past. We want to remind you that your past really is your past, and you must trust that you've moved beyond it, that you're not going to be attracting the same people. Very often when we pull ourselves out of society in one way or another, we pull ourselves out in order to heal. It's a very powerful way of healing, but of course we do all of this sort of on our own terms. When we integrate back into life, we say on a practical level, I'm ready to get back out there. Of course, your mind's going to be telling you, well, we did all of this sort of on our own terms. Now, does the work that we've done, does it apply? Yes, it absolutely does. You're powerful enough to do this. And all of the energy that you have in and around you, we want you to remember that it's very powerful, and you are attracting at a different level. Now, some of you are already out there attracting new energy and attracting new sort of new love interest. And that's wonderful. And that's the way that you can gauge too. We also want to remind you that even if sometime the first time that you get out there, that the energy that you're attracting is a little bit shaky, or it's not exactly what you want to attract, we want to remind you that this is just the beginning. Keep going. There's a tendency with some of you, Paul, too, is that when you put yourself out there you go with the initial reaction, or you get caught up in the good stuff. But again, you have this in common slightly with Power 1. But then when somebody comes up or you have a negative reaction or something like that, you tend to pull back a little bit. And it tends to sort of put you off a little bit. We don't want you to be put off by anything anymore other than the truth of who you are. We just want you to move through it this week. And if there's any old stuff that comes up, again, you don't need to go down the rabbit hole, and just be very aware of the energy that you're pulling in the present moment as you look back. But if it's something that you can do to reassure yourself that your past is your past, go ahead and do that work. That's going to be very powerful work for you this week. So these cards are really denoting the energy around the full week, and particularly the energy around the beginning of the week before the new moon comes in. Now, as the new moon comes in and afterwards, we'll see what comes up for you here. All right, so we've got trust. Not surprised that you've got trust too, and that's 32. If we put those together, that's 5 also. In your journey, you're definitely at that sort of pivotal point in your journey where you have done enough work. You are ready to get out there. Again, you've got very different energy, but you've got some interesting sort of similarities or overlaps, for want of a better word, with Power 1. So it is about trusting your energy and trusting where you are at. It's so important that you trust where you are at. It's a beautiful place. So you are good enough at full moon in Virgo. Again, a reminder, that you are absolutely good enough, and that you know what you're doing. Everything that you've done thus far has brought you to this place, and you have done all the work. Now, for some of you, there's this tendency to, when something comes up and you see it as, how would we say it? You see it as not necessarily a stepping stone, but something that's sort of blocking you from something. You tend to sort of want to stop everything, go back and redo your healing. What else do I need to learn? What else do I need to learn? What else do I need to learn? At some point, it's about just getting back and reintegrating. And again, this came up with Power 1. Sometimes it really is just the energy around you and how you are triggering other people or how people are reacting to you. And sometimes it really is just about them. So we want you to be not in a really like, it's all about me kind of way where you've lost that humanity, you've lost that humility. I don't think you could do that anyway, but we want to remind you this week is about you, about getting out there, but particularly with romantic love. Admitting what it is. For some of you, it's about admitting what it is that you really want and knowing that you're worthy to be able to attract it. For some of you, you've not really been necessarily that interested in getting back out there. For some of you, for romantic love. So this is a really big thing for you to say, because you're perfectly great with being on your own. A lot of you are. And you've built a life like that. But the other side of it is that you also know that you've come to the point where we heal with others. There's so much that we can do to heal ourselves on our own. And sometimes it's very brave and beautiful to bring yourself out of society, bring yourself out and do that work on your own. That's very powerful work, and that's what you've done. But the crux of the matter is that you're at that point where that to bring home and bring all of that energy to fruition, you're being asked to connect with others and to allow in that vulnerability. And that's where the end of this healing sort of comes in, and it really brings it up a notch. If you've been working on ways in which you can heal from past love affairs that have not always gone well for you, for want of a better term, because you're such a giver, and you believe so much in other people and you see the beauty in others, which is absolutely wonderful, but you've not always picked the people who saw the beauty in themselves and they could step up to what they saw. So you really fell in love with people's potential, but not everybody reached that potential. And it was a difficult lesson for you to learn. It was a very difficult lesson, and it stung. But the truth of the matter is that when you go about this now, this will be very, very different, because you are going to go for people. You are going to pull in with people, and there is somebody else coming in. Now, they may not come in on the new moon exactly, but after the new moon, it's open for them to come in. And some of you may have just sort of, or have an idea of this person coming in, or have your eye on somebody. This could move forward sort of Thursday onwards, but the energy is in and around it. But this is energy that's already been there, but you've been pulling it back to sort of get the signs and do this. So there's nothing wrong with playing it a little bit demurely, especially in Mercury in retrograde, where, you know, we're in the retrograde cycle, and you know, the way in which we articulate can get muddled, and you know, it can be difficult for starting new relationships, brand new, especially you know, romantic relationships. They can be even tougher in Mercury retrograde, and sometimes we go in with the rose-colored glasses with these beautiful new relationships that are starting off, and then, you know, when Mercury goes direct, and then we start seeing the person for, you know, exactly what they were, and it just wasn't clear. So this is the time for you to really negotiate what it is that you truly want. Know that you deserve exactly what it is that you're looking for. And then here we have the Sun Goddess 33. Absolutely love that. I celebrate each sunrise and recognize the healing energies of the sun. So it's more about, this card is absolutely more about getting out again and integrating into the world on your own terms. And also having fun. And it's also about trusting yourself. You've been working on this energy of trusting your guides and trusting your sort of abilities. That, to the most part, for most of you, you've gotten down. But it's about trusting yourself with those abilities when you're out and about, when you're integrated back into the world. And there's a new level of integration that you're coming into this week. And again, there's this energy of the old coming up, specifically with maybe even for some of you betrayal that you had with old relationships. We want to assure you that you're not going to be attracting that level of person anymore. You're really not. But it's totally understandable that as you get out there, again, as you take those first practical physical steps, that you're going to feel a little bit shaky. But we want to remind you that everything moves a little slower right now, Mercury retrograde. And for you, that energy is really going to work in your favor. Slow things down. You don't need, you know, in the past, you've whizzed things up. You've wanted things quickly. You've done things quickly. You're all about the experience. And that's been beautiful energy for you. But right now, you're slowing things down, truly connecting, listening. Sovereignty keeps coming in, the sovereign self. Making sure that every decision, every way that you articulate yourself is absolutely the way that, you know, that you truly are. For you, you didn't always speak up in other relationships, and this has nothing necessarily to do with, not just with romantic relationships, but with other relationships, with friendships too. Even other situations, in work situations, you've not always put your needs first. You've not always asked for what you've wanted. Now, in occasion, when you have actually gone out there with a shaky voice, you've asked for what you've wanted. Sometimes you've gotten it, sometimes you haven't. So we want to remind you that a lot of them, if you're looking back on your past, a lot of the past that you're looking back has this sort of this hue of, this filter of you not asking for what you want. So we want you to be very clear and open and honest about what you want this week for yourself before you enter into a relationship. We want you to be very clear about what kind of relationship you want. Now, as you meet somebody, you don't need to give them a long list of what you want, but you can be very clear about what it is that you want, and that presents in your energy. So this is about, you know, bringing in what you want, being very clear and standing by it and trusting that you will receive it, and trusting you're at a place where you are going to attract from a brand new sort of location, a locale, new energy location in your life. You're absolutely good enough. You've done the work. Again, please don't go back into this rabbit hole and just pick everything apart and this, that, and the other. We want to remind you, to reiterate, the way in which we see things is very clouded in one way or another with how we see things at the time. And the way in which we reenact old situations will be different based on what we've been through. So 5 months ago, 5 years ago, and, you know, we can you know, have an opinion about a friend or close friend, then have a conversation with them, and it'll go one way or another, and then our opinion of that person could shift and change. So it's really about seeing things with clarity, getting to the crux of the point of everything here. So if you do decide to go back, You're looking at it not from other people's perspective, but from your perspective. How could I do things differently? Again, trusting and believing in yourself, making sure your needs are met, making sure that you put your needs out there. Again, you don't have to write it all down. And when you first meet somebody, this is what I need, or get out of here. But you can have it in your energy level so people know energy is felt. It doesn't always need to be said. Energy is felt. So be very clear about what you want this week. Know that you can receive it and that it's on its way. And if there's a little bit of that nervousness, which is totally understandable about getting out there, try and turn it around to excitement. This is something that you do sometimes, or you have done in the past. You know, when you've asked for something and it comes, you get really, really nervous, and then you talk yourself out of it. And this would be easy if the energy that's coming up you could acknowledge as being exciting instead of being nervous. You'll work with your energy differently if you see it as excitement. And then you can sort of integrate that energy a little bit more, allow for that energy a little bit more, and just have fun with it. So we want you to have fun today, but we also want you to put your energy first and your needs first. And trust that new relationships are coming in. Now, this is not just about physical relationships with romantic, although for a lot of you, this is about romantic relationships coming in, or new ones that have just come into your realm. But for a lot of this is new energy coming in from the outside, or new energy, new friendships coming in, new soul family coming in, being able to see you for who you are, people you can be vulnerable around. You've always been able to attract different kinds of people with various different personalities, and fit in almost chameleon-like with different groups of people that really don't get on necessarily, but you've been able to sort of, flit from each group, and that's been absolutely wonderful. But it's been a little bit at the cost of who you are with that chameleon aspect. This is about you trusting yourself, you showing yourself for who you are, and everybody comes to you this time instead of you going in each direction and being friends with everybody. Now, there's nothing wrong with being friends with everybody as long as it doesn't compromise aspects of yourself. So that chameleon aspect is really sort of layering out, and you're really coming into this da-da moment this week, which is really priceless and beautiful and very, very important for you this week. So trust yourself. Trust who you are. Don't dumb yourself down in any situation, regardless of romantic or otherwise. And these relationships will start coming in and around you. People will start, and when people start coming in and around you, you have every right to kind of sit with it and see who you want to hang out with and what's going on. So this is, social life picking up, soul family, the remnants of soul family, the essence of it coming in. And just getting very excited about new energy coming in. But don't forget to move slowly this week and methodically, not in a way where you're taking everything apart and overthinking. No, but just take your time this week with everything that you need to do to really, really gauge into your own energy and trust your own energy source and all the work that you've done. It's enough to attract everything and everyone that you want, and you absolutely deserve it. So stay true to you this week. So we have the Making Magic cards. Let's get you one other card here. Very exciting week for you, though. Not a passive week in any way, shape, or form, but we hope that you take it slow and really enjoy being you. Really celebrate being you and everything that you've been through and all the experiences that you've been through. It's so funny because everything you've been through and every way that you've... Oh, we've got Goddess. That came right out. Healing feminine energy. Absolutely. And we've got this here too. Bathes you in the divine feminine light. This feminine energy, particularly, again... it has nothing to do with gender. We all have divine feminine and divine masculine. But for you, not being seen for that feminine aspect or that intuitive side of you, or, some of people taking advantage of that, beautiful feminine, divine feminine aspect of you. People have taken you as like weak or soft or this, that, or they've taken advantage of that. And that beautiful side of you, the way that it's integrated, you're really pulling that in this week, and you're really sort of, keep seeing peacock feathers, putting it out there and understanding that there's not weakness, there's a real beauty in that. And you're not going to dumb down that side of you now. You're just going to be very precious. You're going to be very particular about who you give that energy to, and that's part of trusting yourself, trusting that you're good enough, and that you're putting yourself out there in the way in which you want to be seen, and you're respected completely for who you are. So really sit with that energy of the divine healing, the divine energy, and that's where your strength comes from. It's also where you've been wounded in the past. So if those wounds are coming up again, sit with that beautiful energy, release those cords, know that those are in your past, and new energy is coming in and around you. Should be coming in after the new moon, but definitely in the next 2 weeks, because of the new moon energy, really whatever we create here, whatever it is that we want. And for those of you who are creating this new life with new people coming in and new relationships, this is a beautiful time for you to do that on Thursday or in and around the new moon energy. Some people don't do magic on the new moon energy or put out intention on the new moon energy because it's so intense. A couple days before, a couple days after, you have to figure out for you how that energy works for you. You might love the energy on the actual new moon. You might love that intensity, but this is a time for you to put your intentions out there. I'm ready for new people to come in. I'm ready to trust again. I'm ready for people to see me for exactly who I am, and just really wrapping yourself in that goddess energy this week and reveling in it, because it's really where your strength is. Yes, in the past, it's where, people were allowed in and maybe they took advantage. But again, that is your past. Trust that your future will be completely different. So this is a beautiful week for you for reclaiming, not even reclaiming, but loving yourself on this new energy level, and knowing good things are coming for you and coming in for you. So we hope this resonated with you, Pile 2. We're sending you so much beauty to you and support for exactly who you are in this exact moment. And we want you to stay safe and sane and enjoy this beautiful new moon coming in. Have a glorious week. Until we meet again, Pile 2. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, beautiful Pile 3s. If you chose the rainbow card, number 26, then there is a rainbow just beyond the clouds. There is a rainbow beyond the clouds. So that is your message. We want to remind you, if you have not been here before, that we always have the magic candle that I made last year with eclipse energy. So you can use that for healing, activation, anything that you want to release into the flame, bring in abundance. So that's working on another level for you. We also remind you that we are doing a new moon energy update week ahead from Monday the 7th of June 2021 to Sunday the 13th of June, with that new moon in Gemini and a solar eclipse coming in on Thursday, June 10th. So a lot going on this week. So let's start off. We're going to start off with your tarot, and we also have some dragon energy that I was feeling. So we're going to start off with these. We've got the 5 of Swords here and the World. Okay. And then we have the crystal yellow dragon. Opens you to higher learning and wisdom. Expand your crown chakra for illumination. Walk the higher spiritual path. Okay, so as usual, we're also always working with collective energy that's going on right now, and always there's a crossover or thread between pile 1, 2, and 3. But obviously there's always a different energy. So you do have a lot in common with pile 1, 2, and 3, but the energy here is really intense and really beautiful. You're absolutely ready to burst out. Whereas pile 1 and pile 2 had slightly different energies, particularly pile 2, which is sort of babyier steps, like slower, but very involved. This is energy of like, you are ready to get out there. You are ready to bloom, to blossom, to burst, really. And this is about you taking your energy back on a new level, which is absolutely glorious. So the one thing that you've realized, pile 3, and it's very important for you, and now people say this all the time, but actually getting this and integrating into your soul changes your life, and you've done this. Nobody else can change your life for you. Nobody else can make you happy. Everything out on the outside of the exterior is a reflection of the interior. Now, we say this all the time in spirituality, a word that I'm even starting to spirituality drives me nuts, but we say this in healing as we move forward. But this is something, and we understand it to a certain degree, and most people would agree with it. But this is an understanding that you've taken to heart, that you've integrated, that you know. Your power comes from within. It doesn't come from the opinions of others. It doesn't even come from the treatment of others or other people's energies in any way, shape, or form. Before you tended to, or you had done before, because the way in which you articulated yourself, or the way in which you were in the world, that you weren't 100% in the world. You were okay. It's almost like, all right, I know I've agreed to be here, I guess, but I've got one foot in this world, one foot in the other world. We'll see how it goes. Your responsibility of that has changed. You put 2 feet in this world and you're like, all right, I realize that this is the way I'm going to be able to get the results that I want. You've actually dedicated yourself to the responsibility of being in the human form on this earth. And that's something that you didn't always do because you felt like you didn't fit in. So while you were doing that, you had experiences, and they were very intense experiences, but because you weren't fully integrated on your own terms in the responsibility of this world, other people's energies, other people's actions were able to infiltrate your energy field and sort of upset you and shift your world a little bit more. They had a little bit more power than they needed to. And part of that was that you weren't grounded. Your 2 feet were not grounded in the responsibility of this world. You were like, what the hell is going on? I don't know if I want to stay here. I don't know what's going on, which is totally understandable. I'm only laughing because I totally understand. So you've realized the way in which you get your world, the way in which you create whatever you want. You've got to have 2 feet in this physical existence and say to yourself, I am here. I'm absolutely here. I'm human in this lifetime. This is it. Now, we can be starseeds, we can be whatever, but we're human first. We're human in this world. And honestly, we all come from this. We've all had starseed energy. We've all had this. We've all had that. We've all had all of it. But we're here to be human in this lifetime. We can bring and we can access all of that other beauty and all of that other knowledge that we had a little bit more, for some of us a lot more, if we're grounded in the human experience. If we're not grounded in the human experience, that it becomes a little tainted, a little gobbledygooky. It can go off in different direction, or the way in which we filter information can be just a little bit off, this, that, and the other. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. But you, Pile 3, have come here to be very clear. You've come here for very direct articulation for this is who I am, love it or leave it. For you, that's been murky waters. Now, to be clear, you've articulated yourself in a very sort of pristine way, one way or another, but you've attracted people who haven't always done that. And you've also been sort of accused one way or another of being sort of this open energy and really, let's go off and do the spontaneous and this, that, and the other. And this is a part of your personality and your energy that you absolutely claim. But it was rooted in the fact that you weren't really grounded into this existence. So this is a really important week for you, Pile 3. This is kind of amazing because you get a new version of the world because you're committed to being human. Very strange thing to say, but it doesn't make it any less true. And the irony here is that you become much more powerful supernaturally, or as we know, naturally, because you're more grounded in that energy, because you're like, yes, this is me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the pain. I'm going to accept what it is to be human completely, one way or another. Now, there's another different reason why you would not have been 100% okay with being here. And it's because a lot of you have come in at the beginning of this lifetime and there's been some trauma. There's been some significant trauma. And it's totally understandable that you've wanted to leave and get out of the body a little bit. And also because for some of you, it happened in such a way that you were small, you couldn't articulate it. There weren't people there to help you. It was very difficult for you to want to on your own without having that guidance to want to ground into being here 100% in this human form, you are exposed to a level of pain that most people aren't. And a lot of people wouldn't have been able to get through it. So this is for some of you. And if this part of the reading resonates with you, we are sending so much openness and support for you, because we totally feel where you're coming from. And this is something that you've worked through. This is something that you've understood. This is something that is cut deep on a level. And there's a level of trauma that might still exist in some of the body. But here's the thing. You've done so much work. You know who you are by owning up to, not even owning up to, by claiming full on this human existence with these 2 feet down in the ground, everything that you've ever been through, that trauma has the chance to rise to the surface and integrate and release completely this week, one way or another. It has the chance to do that, because this is a very profound time for you. This is a time where you really feel as though this is your life that you're living. Whereas before, there was an element of, yeah, you were choosing, but there was an element of, you're being moved in this direction, you're being moved in that direction, and you didn't feel as though you had a level of control over your life. Now, this is not, when we take full responsibility and we're grounded who we are, we don't feel as though we need control. We need to move into alignment. But you've been working in the control factor because of, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's perfectly fine. But this is where you get to level up. This is where you get to move into a new way of being. And then once you put these 2 feet into the ground, what you're absolutely ready to do, you're bursting to do, and you're ready to do this, the ironic thing is you automatically align. There's no control anymore. You understand that. And you're not being moved like a pawn on a chess set. All the time. You're actually the king, you're the queen, you're the knight, you're the rook. You're who you want to be. You're much more in control. And again, we're just using this word to make a point and to be very, very clear right now. But again, it's more about alignment and not control. But you're in this visible stance of you taking your life the way in which you want to, without feeling as though you're just flailing around a little bit. And even when you made these dramatic decisions before, because you were able to make them, and you did have this fantastical element to your life. You've done things most people wouldn't do. And these spontaneous things, I'm just going to get on a plane and do this and whatever, all of that is wonderful. And you're still capable of that. And you still will do that. But there was still an element of control, because even though you were doing that, it wasn't true freedom. A little bit of real talk pathway. It wasn't real freedom, because you were, there was an element of escaping. This is you getting right back into who you are. This is you claiming everything you've been through. And again, we want to be really clear. I've said this probably 100 times on this channel, but so you feel fully supported. This is not about necessarily forgiving people who did you wrong, who could have done better but didn't. If you want to, that's up to you. This isn't, all love and light and all beauty and, I totally understand where you came from, even though you treated me like this. No, people need to take responsibility for their own actions. And if they don't, you can heal perfectly fine by cutting the cords from them, pulling back your energy and giving them back their own energy that they gave you, and said, I absolutely accept that you did not do what you could have done. And you did something horrible, but you don't have to forgive them in order to move your energy away from it and in order to fully heal. Now, at some point you probably will, and that's fine, but you don't do it now. You don't need to do it now. We want to be in full support of people who have been through things, and not sit here and give you all that love and light bullshit. Just go out and do love and light and everything will be fine. Just forgive them. They were doing their best. No, because that really doesn't headline what you went through. That really doesn't honor everything that you went through. That's not okay. So however you want to do this is up to you. But you've done a lot of that looking back. This is about you bursting forward and moving into this own energy. So this part of the reading is really about the energy of the week, but particularly Monday through Wednesday. But this is the energy that's going to come in for the new moon specifically. So we'll get you some extra information here Thursday. And again, that's the new moon in Gemini with the solar eclipse on Thursday. So we have, let's see what we have. Yes. Okay, so the first one that we have here is don't let your past hold you back. Now, we don't think that's going to happen for you. So we're not really going to spend a lot of time on that because as we've already talked about, this is about you bursting forward. This is about you sort of reclaiming your energy and saying, yes, this happened. I'm moving forward with this. I am here. I am human. I am doing this. And if you did not go in for the reading, or if you did not were not in and around the reading, the one that I did just before this one, I've forgotten the name of it, but I promise I will link it down below. It's a really good reading, no matter what you choose, pile 1, 2, and 3. A lot of people actually got back in the comments and privately and said that that reading was great, and they went and listened to all 3 of them, not necessarily in order, but there was messages for them in all 3 of the piles. But it really is this notion of spirituality and this notion of being human, how we're melding that, and that could give you a little extra support. So if you feel as though you want a little extra information, a little extra support, always listen to your intuition and see where it's leading you. I will link that down below. You can go check that out if you haven't already. Now we have number 18 and pleasure. Now look at this beautiful creature in the middle. And then we have all this energy bursting out from the middle. We've got the moon here. This is exactly you. This is what you look like with the world. This is both you. This is your energy level. On an energy level, if we could record your energy level and take note of it and take a photograph of it, this is what your energy would look like, especially as it comes into the new moon. It's like it cannot be taken for granted anymore, right? It cannot be held in. It's got to be out there. And this is the world for you. This is you ready to take on the world. This is you ready to move into the world on your own terms. This is you to say, I'm here, I've got this, and just have this level of confidence that hasn't been there before. And the universe will be taking notice of your energy this week, pile 3, because you got it going on. You got that swagger, you know what you're doing. A lot of you have put out some very specific understandings of what it is that you're looking for in your life. You've upgraded. Some of you have specifically put it out 2 weeks before for the full moon. Now, it may not have culminated or come to fruition in around the full moon, but we promise you these opportunities are coming in one way or another. They might be leveling up. They may not look how you think they should look or what you've asked for, but they will be coming in after the new moon, which again is this Thursday coming in. And then we have Archangel Michael here. Again, we're just pointing out number 16, because sometimes people have the number means something to them. You can either number 16 or 7 coming into. I'm hearing for some of you, the number 7 is actually something that's going to resonate with you. I am grateful for the strength and courage Archangel Michael brings to my life. So Archangel Michael is, most people are familiar with him, sword of truth. And also, to put it frankly, I always see Archangel Michael, pardon my French here, but, it's all good, as the no bullshit angel with, the sword of truth coming in and cutting away what no longer serves. This, again, melds into the energy that you have this week. It's like, I am doing this. And again, as we said with pile 1 and pile 2, very different energy, but when you put your energy out there, and regardless of how people react to it one way or another, you are in your zone, you are in your vibe. So, it's not that we don't want you to take into, view everything that's going on in your world, but also if there's people that come in with energy as you put your energy out there, and they might be a little intimidated by it and they react to it one way or another, particularly in this Mercury in retrograde, very intense Mercury in retrograde period, where things can get sullied and, communication can be a little bit off. We don't want you in any way, shape, or form to dull your light to meet their insecurities. We don't want you going over why this happened. Certainly check in and make sure that, you were worthy, you articulated yourself correctly, this, that, and the other. And if you come up with the beautiful notion of, I meant what I said, I was very clear about it. I thought I was being beautiful, this, that, and the other. If it's taken the wrong way or anything's happened like that, please do not take that to heart. That's just what's going on. We do not want you to dumb down your light this week for anything or anyone. You have that humility. You have that beauty. This is about trusting yourself. And as you go out there, you're going to get a myriad of different reactions to your beautiful energy. We want you to stay golden, pony boy, no matter what, with your own energy. And again, don't go into the past of whereas before, with the chameleon element of knowing different types of people and this, that, and the other, of dumbing yourself down when you feel as though somebody can't handle your energy. Do not dare do that. This is coming into not even a new beginning. This is coming into a new energy level for you. We don't want you reverting back in any way, shape, or form. And all it takes is one kind of, oh my goodness, and then shrinking down just a little bit, and then you're just down on that route. It doesn't mean that even if you do that, you won't be able to come back. Of course you can. But why go down that road to begin with? There's no reason for you. We want you to remember this. And remember that pleasure comes from being yourself. Pleasure comes from putting out that energy into the world. And for one person who doesn't get that energy or feels as though it's a little bit too much, or they're overwhelmed by it, or whatever it is that's going on, there'll be 20 other people that absolutely love it. So just concentrate on those 20 other people, bringing them in, integrating them into your world. And just, if people aren't ready for your energy one way or another, let them go off. So we just want to, let's see, we've got Making Magic here. I love these. We're going to do one more here, but this is a wonderful week for you to stand in your own energy. And again, we want to remind you, this is a long time coming. This is you really putting all of your experiences and putting your energy first, which has not always been easy for you. And it's been an uncomfortable process of putting yourself first. A lot of you were either shown or told, or you got the idea that the way in which you were to find love is that if you put other people first, you put their needs first. And that's, even though it instinctively didn't work with you, even though you felt as though that doesn't feel right for me, there was instinctively that something that you did, or for some of you, even in the martyrdom aspect of things, where you put yourself last so many times that by the time you came to your own energy, there was none left for you. So you've turned this around. You've turned this around. This is your energy first. And for those of you who still feel as though it still feels a little bit selfish, it still feels a little bit arrogant, it still feels a little bit off because of how far you've come, that's okay. It's going to feel that way, but you're not arrogant, and none of this is actually true. But your feelings can tell you these, and it's just letting you know, if you get this energy throughout the week, oh my goodness, I feel a little bit arrogant. I'm putting myself out there. This feels a little bit forward for me. Go with it. Have fun with it. Again, check in with your energy and making sure that you're being true to you, but you are. This is just this new legacy, that this new responsibility, taking on this new responsibility of being fully here and present in your body and in your life gives you. So yeah, it's not a small thing. And with all the experiences that you've been through, you have so much empathy and beauty that really is going to be front and center to everything that you do. It really is. So don't you ever doubt yourself, Pal 3. So let's see what we have here. This one's talking. The sun, golden energy of the sun brings fame and fortune. Absolutely love this. Now, in pile 2, we had a sun card too. So there's a lot of dragon passion energy, a lot of sun energy, a lot of getting yourself out there. Like moon energy is wonderful too. Love moon energy, but that's all about sort of what's hidden and sort of the occult. That's stuff that you've been working on. This is sun energy. This is getting you out there, being in the forefront. And again, the golden energy of sun brings fame and fortune. You are ready to burst out there. You have something very much in common with pile 2 in that way, with new opportunities coming in. This is going to move thick and fast because you've been doing so much work on yourself. When you really ground into those 2 feet and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, it's almost like everything changes overnight. So the physicalities of that will be, can be felt after the new moon, which is Thursday onwards. But we want you to stay strong in this energy all week and enjoy this beautiful, gorgeous basking in the sun for you. And don't you dare dumb yourself down when people give you a compliment. You say thank you, don't deflect it, really come into it. Even if you feel arrogant, even if you feel, this is some way you wouldn't have dealt with it before. We don't care. We want you in that energy. We want you taking and basking in that beautiful energy of being in the spotlight, because you absolutely deserve it. And we want to remind you too, this is energy that you signed up for. This is the lifetime that you signed up for. You said that you wanted to be out there and doing this, and you have the wisdom to be able to do it and the practicality to be able to do it. You are able to do this. So don't you dare back down from any of that beautiful limelight that's coming your way, that's going to be instilled this week. And again, the new moon energy, when it comes in, it stays in and around you for 2 weeks too. So work with this energy. It's just coming in this week, but it will be in and around you specifically for the next 2 weeks. So revel in it, love it. Keep that humility, keep that beautiful empathy that you have, but just shine this week, Pile 3. You are absolutely owed it, and it could not have happened to a better person. So that's what we have for you, Pile 3. Very exciting week for you. We are sending so much love and support. So much support that I almost messed up the camera. But we are sending so much love and support for you, exactly where you are right now, seen for exactly who you are. We want to send you that and know that you are protected and loved for exactly who you are. Do not change a thing about yourself. So stay safe. Okay, Mercury retrograde is really happening as I'm chiming over my words here. So what I was trying to say is stay safe and sane, my darlings. Pile 3, enjoy your beautiful solar eclipse and new moon in Gemini. We will see you soon. Stay safe and sane. Bye-bye now.